Your router is currently booting up. It's gone through the power on self-test. The bootstrap has located the operating system image and loaded into RAM. Now it's next on the router's plate to locate the startup configuration file. So where is the startup configuration file? Well, hopefully it's in NVRAM because that's a nice local storage place for that information. But if it's not, hopefully it can be located on some other third-party device like a TFTP server in the organization. But anyways, the router's booting up right now. Startup configuration file, is it in NVRAM? Yes or no. If it is, it's as simple as loading that startup configuration file and then giving you the user exec prompt or whatever else is necessary, like password verification to VTY access or console access, whatever it happens to be. But what if the startup configuration file is not in NVRAM? Uh-oh. Well, do we have an active link on our device? We could broadcast out and try to find a configuration file at that point in time. If there's no configuration file that can be loaded from a server out on the network, then we're going to go ahead and prompt you with the initial configuration dialog. That's right, the initial configuration dialog. What is that? That's that mini setup wizard. So anytime you see the mini setup wizard, the system configuration dialog, would you like to enter the system configuration dialog? Yes or no? Then you know that your NVRAM did not have your startup configuration file and there was no other device on the network that could provide us with a startup configuration file. So when are we going to end up with that system configuration dialog? Well, with a new device that we've just purchased out of the box that's had everything wiped off of it. Perfect. I expect that. But if this router's been in my possession for 2 years and all of a sudden I see the system configuration dialog, that means my startup configuration file is missing from NVRAM. Uh-oh. That means either maybe somebody deleted it or it became corrupted. Whatever happened has caused this device not to be able to load the startup config from NVRAM. Or maybe somebody changed the configuration register value. Remember the configuration register value of 2142, so 2142, that 4 says, do not load the configuration file from NVRAM, use factory default settings. Well, all right. Okay. That might be another reason why somebody changed the configuration register value on us, and that's why we see the system configuration dialog. So it's important that when you make any changes to your router at all, you always copy your configuration information. So we're going to copy from our running config, which is currently what's happening on our device, to our startup configuration file, which is stored in NVRAM with the copy running config startup config command. If you ever want to view the running configuration, you type in show running config. And in this case, we can see our current configuration, when the last configuration change was, and it even tells us when the last time we updated NVRAM was. So if all of that equals, or we have NVRAM that was updated recently, then we know that they equal each other. But if you want to verify if they equal each other, you can type in show running config, show startup config, compare the output, and double check to make sure that everything is the exact same. Or just type copy running config startup config at that moment in time, and then you know they should be the exact same at that point. So it's important because if this startup configuration file is missing, or it's not the same as your running configuration and you reload the device, then whatever's in NVRAM in the startup config file is what is loaded. And if it's not the most up-to-date information, then you have a problem on your hands because now your router is not going to be performing as it should. Or if it's missing completely because you never, ever once saved the running config to startup config, then that's not going to be loaded either. So always remember, copy running config to startup config. Make sure they are the same.